Anybody know the score of the Rams game?
No.
Oh, no.
Who are the Rams?
Who said that?
One guess.
My name is Roger Horn, and I'm the chairman of the executive board for the Arnold Food Pantry, and I want to welcome all of you here today as we have our grand opening and dedication, and we honor some people who helped us to get to this point. We are overjoyed, that's a good word I think, overjoyed that we are here. This has been a long process, aided by many people. And we're going to try to name as many as we can today and recognize some of those folks. I've been president now for about 5 years, I think. Is that right, John? About 5? Because I followed John. And this has been our dream, our vision for all of those years. Some of you know where we were. It was kind of dark, and I always felt like I was in the caverns in there or something. But this is a whole new thing, and we're so blessed to be here. People ask me when I tell them about the Arnold Food Pantry, they say, well, what is the Arnold Food Pantry? And yeah, I can say that we're a group that wants to feed the hungry. That's kind of our motto. You'll see that around here. But I think the important question to ask is not what is it, but who are we? And I'm going to take just a couple of seconds, if I can, to say a little bit about who we are. Obviously, we have a board, executive board, and some of them are sitting up here today. Bob Taylor, Joe Werner, Vern Sullivan, Phil Amato is way in the back, and I'm trying to think if I saw any of the other ones. A couple of them couldn't be here today. Faith Rose is here. Faith is back there. I knew she was there. Did I miss? I'm getting to her. We're going to roast her later. Yeah, oh, Linda Brazeal. Okay, I'm sorry, Linda. So she's one of our newest members, about 2-3 months. So that's one of the things we are. We're a board. We have two of our folks that we want to recognize today. Our director, Kathy Flanigan. Kathy, stand up if they don't know you. Staff person, Carol Kersel. Carol's going to be in charge of it. We just hired Carol, so she's going to take some of the load off of Kathy's shoulders. That it's one person just can't do it all. We're getting that large. But you know, that's basically the inner group. We've got volunteers who I always tell them are the finest citizens of Arnold, because they give of their time, their talents, resources to help make the food pantry grow. And I'd like to have all of the volunteers who are here with us today to stand up so we can honor you. We always need more volunteers. You can work anytime you want, any hours you want. If you've got a couple hours that you'd like to share with the food pantry, come on over and we can put you to work. But that's not all of who we are. Let me tell you who we are. These are some of the institutions and businesses that are part of the family. I almost did this by memory this morning. I only missed one. These are the groups that help give us the food items, the items for the thrift store. It's a long list. Schnucks, Deerbergs, Shop and Save, Save-A-Lot, Aldi, Trader Joe's, Walmart, Target, Good For You Nutrition, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Papa John's Pizza, Starbucks, Olive Garden, Mrs. Fields Cookies, Bob Evans, Little Caesar Pizza, Velvet Rabbit, and CC's Pizza. These are all businesses that contribute to us on a weekly or other weekly schedule. And they're the ones that provide the food and things that we can give out. We have other people who have helped us. a lot of the people in the community, and you'll be meeting some of those, and they will be recognized later on. I'm not going to go into those, but we're going to recognize some of those. There are many people who make up the Arnold Food Pantry family. The citizens of Arnold and Imperial are part of our family. They contributed almost 27,000 food items at the Scout Food Drive this year. Think of that, 27,000 food items. The postal carriers, the Girl Scouts with the spring thing that they do. These are all part of the family that we have. We have people that come over and volunteer at the Scout thing who aren't regular volunteers. They're part of our family. And I like to think of the food pantry as a family because of what we do. It's a group that we share a lot of laughs. We get mad at each other once in a while. We're like any other family. Right, Bob? Yep.
Right, brother.
And so that's a little bit about who we are. As you know, we did a fund drive to help get this building. And I would like to just recognize some of those people who went above what might be expected. The following folks gave a total of $84,550 to the food pantry in gifts. Phil Amato, Mike and Peggy Allen, Arnold J.C.'s, Dan Glore, Wes Griffith, Dr. Hudson, IBEW Electrical Connection, Dan Jones, Jack and Jean Kinsel, Jefferson County Labor Club, K&K Auto Repair, Knights of Columbus, Eric and Eldon Knoll, Laborers Local number 110, Earl and Luann Langhorst, Mark Lloyd and Tom Dixon, Bill and Debbie Mortz, the Miller Company, Miller Family, Walter and Mary Moore, Rick and Sue Overmann, Rich and Wanda Simpson, Vernon and Glenda Sullivan, and the Walmart Company. We thank you all for your generosity. One more thing. They say don't give a farmer pastor time to talk, so you're going to have to put up with me, Dave. We have a fundraiser coming up, and we want to invite all of you. If you haven't had breakfast with us, it's all you can eat. It's held at Immaculate Conception, and one of them is going to be next Sunday. It's from 7:30 to 11:30, and we hope that you can join us. So it's a nice time. It's fellowship. If you go to church early, you can come have something. Some of the people even go to church, go to eat before they go to church, and then they go to church and fall asleep during the sermon. But no, I noticed that one. So, but I hope that you will take part in some of our fundraisers. And that's the neat thing about the food pantry. When we decided to make a bid on this building, we had probably, I think, raised close to $130,000. Is that right, Kathy? All through fundraisers. And we always want to make it really clear to people that that money was not a gift from somebody to the food pantry. Most of that was raised as fundraisers, right? Or memorial money. And it was always clear, do you want that money to go into the capital funds campaign? So we're not taking money out of the food pantry side. This was all extra money that was raised through fundraisers over the years. We decided to start that so we had a good down payment on our mortgage. We found out that thanks to Commerce Bank, the work that we've done, that our mortgage is actually less than our rent was at the other place. So it was kind of a no-brainer moving over here. It took a lot of work, a lot of people involved. Two people I actually want to point out is, if these two people hadn't been involved, we would not be sitting here today. And I'm going to name them: Phil Amato and when Phil came on the board a couple of years ago, he didn't know how to use email. Last week I had 20 emails from Phil in one day. He's getting there. He's getting there. So it's good to have all of you here today, and we're going to do some presentations. But before that, we're going to use a little break here, and one of our board members has a granddaughter who is a very talented young lady, and she's going to sing a song for us. Jennifer Stroops. Jennifer?
Hi, I'd like to dedicate this song to all the volunteers who make this possible. Thank you. There is a point when you cannot walk away, when you have to stand up straight and tall and mean the word you say. There is a point you must decide just to do it 'cause it's right. That's when you become a point of light. There is a darkness that everyone must face. It wants to take what's good and fair and lay it all to waste. And that darkness covers everything in sight till it leads to seeing a point of light. All it takes is a point of light, a ray of hope in the darkest night. If you see what's wrong and you try to make it right, you will be a point of light. There are heroes whose names we never hear, a dedicated army of quiet volunteers, reaching out to feed the hungry, reaching out to save the land, reaching out to help their fellow man. There are dreamers who are making dreams come true, taking time to teach the children there's nothing they can't do, giving shelter to the homeless, giving hope to those without. Isn't that what this land's all about? One by one, from the mountains to the sea, points of light are calling out to you and me. All it takes is a point of light, a ray of hope in the darkest night. If you see what's wrong and you try to make it right, you will be a point of light. If you see what's wrong and you try to make it right, you will be a point of light.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was fantastic. You did a wonderful job. And talking about dreaming, that's what the board did at the Arnold Food Pantry. And we did a dream, and it became true because of most of the people in this room right here. Some of the dignitaries that are here today is Bart Velasco, who is president of the Jefferson County Labor Club. Mrs. Bach with the University of Missouri Extension. Phil Amato, Ward 3 of the City of Arnold. We've got Larry Bass from Bass Construction that helped renovate this building, and Stan, who was in charge of the daily activities, and Daryl, who was the overseer of all of the complex, and they were invaluable. and their help and finding people to give us stuff too. We got Bob Boyer from the County Council, Gary Hobbs, the retired gentleman from Walmart that helped us considerably with many grants, John McCartney, our state representative, Cheryl Herman from the Fox School Board. We got Jeff Rorda, the state representative. Mr. Grodery's family is here. He could not make it because he was kind of tied up, but we deeply appreciate them coming and being with us. Bill Mortz, councilman from Ward 2. Senator McKenna, who's going to make a presentation here in a minute. Tim Bach, the realty agent that sold us this building and was extremely helpful to us. We got Bob Sweeney, who has helped us through many hurdles that we had to overcome. And I would like for the union reps, I've seen many of you here, to stand up for just a second. Come on, don't be bashful for the first time in your life. If those gentlemen hadn't gone out and bagged some of the businesses throughout the St. Louis area, we would have never, Phil's point about something, we would have never made it. What do you got, Phil? I mentioned him. But he can be mentioned twice, that's fine. He's over in my area, because I live over on that side. And at this time, I would like to introduce our other dignitary who's here is Mayor Counts, and like for him and Kathy Flanigan to come forward for a presentation.
First of all, you know, they must think you're quite a politician when they put you in behind a preacher. That's all I can tell you. I don't stand a chance. But I'd like to say Merry Christmas to everyone and thank for everyone for coming out for this building dedication we have today. And it's certainly an honor for me to be here. It started out as a dream, I understand. A dream by a fellow by the name of Larry Guthmiller and a fellow by the name of Tom Dolan. And they had a dream to feed the hungry in their community. And I think if you look and see what's taking place here, their dream has been fulfilled. We have a wonderful facilities here. We've got a lot of folks here that really, through their dedication, has made that happen. And I'd like to basically go through some of the folks and thank some of those folks here for their part in making this all take place. First of all, I'd like to thank the Arnold Lowe's, Cozy Wagner, Walmart, Shop and Save. These are folks that donated many material-wise things that were needed for this project to go forward. I want to say a special thanks to our Arnold Pantry Director, Mrs. Kathy Flanigan, and her staff for all the hard work that they had to do. And it had to be quite a feat. Pulling up roots and moving a facility like this. And I'll tell you what, I'm just taken back when I look at what they've done here. It's truly awesome, and it's something that we all have something to really be proud of. But you know, there were so many things that went into making this happen, and I just kind of want to mention, I understand there are so many volunteers in this room that were involved in this, and the restaurants in the area, that just think about the restaurants that came forward and helped these folks during the working times and gave them the lunches and things. I mean, things that you really don't think, and I don't think we're ever going to be able to reach out to everybody, but we'll try to reach on some of these folks. I want to do a special thanks to Joe Stuckensnyder, who donated all the woodworking, his expertise. Arnold resident Mike Bach, owner of Arnold Printing, did such a great job in designing the plaques that are on display. I would like to thank and mention, there's a lot of folks to mention, but I want to mention Vern Sullivan, Butch Cooley, Jim Candon, Arnold Police Chief Robert Shockey, and several city employees, Tom Pulaski, Gene Kinzel, for donating all their time, and many times in talents in different ways. And you know, I think that's a point of interest too. There's everyone out there has a talent that they can, you know, I see so many people that there's so many things they can do, but sometimes they just won't move forward with it. And how important it is. And by people putting their ideas and putting their things, their activities together, they're able to put something like this together. And it's just awesome that this was able to take place. I want to do a special thank Thank you for the outstanding work by the labor trade unions. These members were the heating and cooling folks, the carpenters, the electricians, the plumbers, and the painters. Without their type of expertise, probably they would never done, this kind of expertise would have never been completed. And we've got these folks, I mean, you got the volunteers, but you also need the folks that really know how to make it work. And I'm just proud that we've had these folks come to our city, and they're members of our city. A lot of them live here in our city to make all that take place. I'd like to do a special thanks to Phil Amato, because his vision, dedication, and perseverance was instrumental in making this new location, Arnold Food Pantry and Thrift Store, a reality. We need to give Phil a big hand, guys. Again, this is a perfect example of what can be accomplished when people work together for such a worthwhile project. At this time, I want to move along, and I'd like to read the proclamation, which I'm going to give to Mrs. Flanigan at this time. The Arnold Food Pantry is over 30 years old and was started by Tom Dolan and Larry Guthmiller in the city of Arnold, and has now become the largest non-denominational food distribution center in the St. Louis region and receives no government help. Congratulations to the volunteers, the contributors, and all those who were involved with making the 2024 Key West Arnold of Missouri their new home for our Arnold Food Pantry, and to make sure citizens in need and surrounding areas do not go hungry. The Arnold Food Pantry has become one of the crowning jewels of our city the past 30 years, and it's an honor as well as a privilege for all of us to be here for their new building dedication. Be resolved, as your mayor of the city of Arnold, a special building dedication day has been declared December the 9th, 2012 as Arnold Food Pantry Day. We feed the hungry.
At this time, we have Senator Ryan McKenna. He is a fantastic young man that serves as a senator for our Jefferson County area. Ryan, would you come forward, please?
No, sit down. Quickly, my best friend's name's Brad Duncan. He's Vern Sullivan's stepson. I've known Vern Sullivan for over 20 years, and the one thing that most people don't know is Vern's behind the scenes on everything that happens in Arnold. He's a man that I hold in high regard, and his motto is to leave the city of Arnold better than he found it, and he does that every year. So thanks. When I was invited to speak today, I said yes, which isn't a great story. That's just how it happened. I'm not going to read, I have a resolution from the State Senate. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read the most important sentence in the resolution that I think is the reason so many people volunteered and made this a labor of love. And it says, whereas the nonprofit food pantry serves on average 140 families or 400 people from Arnold and parts of Imperial and Fenton every week. That's unbelievable. 400 people are helped by this place every week. And as a Catholic, I think one of the most important things that when I read the Bible is giving to those that are hungry and less fortunate. I think that's the most important thing that we can all do for those of us that have a little more, help other people. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 27 reminds us that God says, whoever gives to the poor will not want. There are 400 people that are going to be helped from this place every week, and those of you that volunteered will not want in God's eyes. I'd like to present this resolution, I'm not sure to who, to the pastor, and congratulations, best wishes. And real quick before I stop, one trade that was not mentioned that did a whole lot of work is the Laborers Union in Don Willie, which is also my union. Thank you too.
This will have a prominent place in our building. As you go around the building, please take a look. We've got a lot of plaques and stuff honoring people. A lot of the proclamations will be up, and kind of nice, kind of neat to kind of see the progress of how this building came to be.
Well, with a compliment like that from Ryan McKinn, I guess I might have to make a donation to his next election.
About time.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next guest that is going to make a presentation is State Representative John McCarthy, and today is his wife's birthday. So we ought to wish her a happy birthday. Thank her for taking part of her time to come to a ceremony like this instead of getting a steak dinner from the state rep.
Thank you, and we in the Missouri House really like you too. So. I'm not going to read this either, but I do want to take a moment just to say thank you. When I'm not in the Missouri House, I'm pastor at First Baptist Church of Murphy over in High Ridge, Missouri, on Highway 30. We have a food pantry as well. We serve about 120, 130 families a month, I think. And you know, I don't think people really get it that right here in Missouri that there are hungry people. You know, I don't think we understand that sometimes. And so it means the world to me to be able to take part in something that is so big. Today's a big day, and we thank all. You know, I've got a whole list of names as well of all the people that donated and worked, but we've heard those names. And the reality of it is the food pantry is just kind of beginning again. It's starting fresh right now, and they're going to need a lot of help. They're going to need a lot of support. And I could tell by looking around this room today that you guys are going to have a lot of support. And so thank you for the volunteers. I know it's a struggle. I know that there's days that there's probably other things that you'd like to do, but coming in here and putting in the time and handing out the food and sorting things out and figuring out, you know, how many, you know, things are going per box and the inventories and all that. I get it. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it because some family somewhere here in Jefferson County is going to eat this Christmas because you guys cared enough to come up and volunteer your time and to do what it takes to make a difference. And so from Missouri House of Representatives, myself, all my colleagues here, thank you so much, and God bless you for your work.
State Representative Florida, do you want to make a couple comments?
Well, I don't have a resolution. I'm not in office yet, so.
That's right. Okay, no problem.
I brought a check. I brought gold. They brought red.
If they have some campaign money left over, they can always make out a check. Arnold Food Pantry. All right, at this time, Pastor Harn, who is our chairman, is going to make a presentation to Bart Velasco of the Labor Group.
I think this is it, right here, Phil? Bart, can you please come forward? I'm going to say something other than this that kind of makes the work that we do here and the the relationship that we've had with the labor unions make it all worthwhile. I used to stop by while the labor guys were working in here, and we used to bring them lunch each day. And I was talking to one of the men who was working over here one day, and I just, I always said, we really appreciate the work that you guys are doing. And you don't know what it means to us. And the man said to me, wait a minute, he said, I'm one of your clients. If it hadn't been for you all, my kids wouldn't have eaten. And that just kind of made my day. So this says important, a true labor of love, in appreciation to Jefferson County Labor Club, Organized Labor, Building America, and the Arnold Food Pantry. Our thanks for over $1 million in labor and materials. $1 million, folks. One more. There you go. We have something else that's going to be going up here. I'm going to hold it. Bob, can you read that for us?
Labor of love, organized labor builds America, also this food pantry and thrift store. Thanks to the building trade unions, along with their members, that donated time and money, over $250,000, to renovate this building, enabling the Arnold Food Pantry to feed the hungry.
Bigger plaque. Okay, look over this way. All right, mention.
Okay. Thank you. It's right here, so everybody can see. We'll put it up everyone.
And at this time, we'd like for Phil Amato to come forward.
Thank you for reading between the lines.
Thank you very much.
Folks, it's Sunday, and for most of us, it's a family day, and it's a day that you go and worship at your church. And I think it's apropos, although I'm not a theologian, I would like to talk a little bit, tell a couple stories. One is, as this project unfolded, I could sit here and talk till dawn about the unusual things that happened, that at the beginning I was trying to logically explain, which most people usually do. There has to be a reason for this, oh, this or that happened. I would go to see Kathy Flanigan, and Kathy would smile, and she says, Phil, we've got 100 ladies in here praying to about 25 different churches. Just tell me what you need, and it'll be taken care of. Well, after a while, I started to believe her. And, but, there's still, we go to the churches and we pray, and then when something good happens, we try to explain why it happened, instead of just saying, well, there's somebody upstairs kind of moving the pawns around. Until I talked to Kathy, and I said, she said, we need somebody to put the phone system in. And I said, I said, I don't know. I said, there's a guy that I used to know that used to do phones, and he was he's retired from AT&T by now, I'm sure. And I said, he moved out of the community, haven't seen him in 15 years, maybe longer. I said, boy, if he was still around, I know he would do it because he was a really nice guy. I know he'd get it started for us. So Kathy says, don't worry about a thing, Phil. Everything else, everything that you keep coming in here and telling me it's impossible, it has worked out. There's something greater going on here. When you're doing God's work, as my friend Awen from Kansas used to say, and Faith also says that on our board, when you're doing God's work, you just kind of get out of the way and let him do his thing, let him do his work. So anyway, I called my friend Butch Cooley's here today. I said, Butch, you want to go to lunch? And he says, yeah. So where would you like to go today? We go to lunch several times a week. He said, let's go down to the Chinese buffet. So we go down to the Chinese buffet, and a couple of us besides Butch is down there, and so I said to them, do you know anybody that could put the phone system? And I haven't got that figured out yet, and we don't know. And he said, no, none of the people did. I told them the same story. If I only knew where this one guy was, I haven't seen him in about 15 years. I said, I know he would do it. So I'm sitting there eating my fried rice, and I look over at the fried rice counter, and the man is standing there. Now, if the hair on the back of my neck didn't stand up, and Butch Cooley looked at me and he said, what? I said, Butch, he's a little heavier, a little lighter on top, but I think he's standing right over there. And Butch goes, what? You haven't seen this guy in 15 years and he's standing over there at the fried rice counter? I said, Butch, I think so. So I watched him go into the other room. I walked over there. Sure enough, it was him. He introduced me to his wife. He had moved to Oakville. Well, the first question I had was, if you're living in Oakville, why are you eating in this restaurant? Well, we were cutting through town, and my wife said she was interested in having some Chinese food today, so we heard this was a pretty good place, so we stopped. Well, I was taught as a little boy that when things happen of good or bad, or when you're looking for a prayer to be answered, you light candles. So I found a church that weekend. I lit the candle, and I said, I get it. I understand. Don't worry about a thing. It's under control. And so I'd like to ask two things of this crowd today. One is, when you go to your place of worship next weekend, I think if everybody in this room just said thank you, it would probably help, because after the fried rice episode, I kind of think that there's something bigger than all of us going on here. The second thing I would like to ask you is, when you're in your place of worship and you're including that in your prayer or however you talk to the Almighty, maybe you say, I know you're busy. The Middle East is a mess. I know you're busy. You got things to do. Don't worry. I got it from here. So folks, if we all band together, there's an army in this room. If we all band together, there's so many things this food pantry can do, and it can get bigger, and it can get stronger, and it can feed more people. If we just do our part. A lot of you have, but if you just say, don't worry, God, I got it from here. So I'd like to thank a couple people. When we started this, we had lost the building. Tim Balk is here from Saul and Gershman. Where's Tim at? Right back here. I didn't know Tim from anybody. He became one of my closest friends, it seemed like, over a period of months. And he went to the people that owned the building, and he fought for us to get them to sell this building to us so we could feed the hungry and do what we need to do. And I'd like a round of applause for Tim. Well, it was a very complicated sale. The building, if you all know, ever went by it, it was empty for a long time. So when you do something and the people that you're dealing with are from out of state, it gets a little complicated, so you need somebody that's a good attorney that can work your way through the process. So our own homegrown Bob Sweeney is right here in the front row. He's the attorney, grew up here in Arnold, and we went to Bob and said, Bob, we need some help, and Bob donated all of his time. He's still donating his time because there's still some things that we need to work out for some easements and things with the property owners on both sides. Please, a round of applause for Bob. Vern Sullivan, everybody's bragged on Vernon. I've been with Vernon for over probably 30 years. We've worked on various projects together, and I have no words in the English language to describe what Vern Sullivan means to me as a friend and what he means in his community. He has raised over $250,000 in scholarships for golf tournaments, so a lot of your children can go to college. Vernon, thank you very much. A couple other people I want to mention before the end here is Kathy Flanigan. Everybody's been talking about Kathy and her volunteers. They do a super job. Thank them. The Brazeals are here. They were working till 3 o'clock in the morning last night with another friend, Mike Bach. It's in the back. I can't. Mike was doing printing for things that you're going to see on the wall at 12:30 today, trying to get things out for us. He's designed all the plaques. Joe did the woodworking, and Bob Shockey did the plaques for us, but Mike did all the layout. It's unbelievable what Mike Bach means to this community and the Bach family at Arnold Printing. You need any printing done, that's the place you go. A guy that gives back to his community and doesn't just take out. Thank you, Mike Bach. And a couple other people is Butch Cooley has done a lot of things. Every time we're turning around, Butch is doing something, and I want to thank Butch. And Jean Kinzel's here from the city, as the mayor said. She's done a lot of volunteer work afterwards, typing in things, and thank you very much on behalf of them. My part of the program is about the labor group. Folks, it says on the plaques that you're going to see as you take a tour of the place today. Organized labor builds America, and they also built this food pantry. Warren Sign Company, you go down to Busch Stadium and you look at a sign on Busch Stadium, Anheuser-Busch, I don't care what Fortune 500 company in the St. Louis area you look, Warren Sign has probably done the sign. They're an IBEW affiliate, and more importantly, they're an Arnold business. Vernon and I went to talk to them, and we said, we need electric signage for this food pantry, and we know it's going to be expensive. Can you help us? All the beautiful electric signs on the outside and on the roof, Warren Sign Company, not only did they donate them, but they put them up as an IBEW affiliate for free. Thank you, Warren Sign. When we started out, the painters were the first ones, I guess, that came on board, and Dave Doors in Baltimore at a union meeting today, and Dave said, Phil, our membership's been hit pretty hard by the economy, but we'll do what we can, and he got all the paint donated from Sherwin-Williams and I think a couple other companies, and sent unemployed painters to paint this entire building. And you know how big a bill we got from the Painters Union? $0. Not $1. You look inside the building and you'll see a lot of pretty things, but there's a lot of things you can't see because they're behind walls and they're up above. The sheet metal workers, Ed's here. Ed did most of the stuff. He was here almost every day. Where's Ed at? Ed's in the back. He was here almost every day for months at no cost. They put sheet metal ducts everywhere. I mean, there's sheet metal stuff. There is 5-ton air conditioners that fell off the truck. There are furnaces. There are things that just kept coming off of trucks, and I go, we don't have enough money to pay for all of this. Where's it all coming from? And finally, at the end, they got some grates. And they said, we're having trouble finding grates. These grates are in the ceiling. And I said, well, you know, what are we going to do? And I said, I haven't got a bill. And Ed looked at me one day and he said, Phil, haven't you figured it out yet? You're not going to get a bill. This is all being done for free. And I said, for free, everything? And he says, yeah. He says, we've taken care of it. And I says, how much money do you think is laying here? And he said, 60, 70, 75,000 maybe, something like that. So thank you to that union also. Carpenters had people on the ground here every day volunteering. and another gentleman that I didn't know very well, that I knew his father real well, but Dave Stanley's over here. Dave's with the IBW Local 1, first electrical union in the whole United States. And he came over and looked at things and told us who was going to pull the permit and how much it was going to take to do all of this. And next thing I know, he brings a check down here from the Electrical Connection, if I pronounce that right, Electrical Connection out of the St. Louis for $15,000, and he's bringing light fixtures from places, and he's bringing exit lights and stuff. So the IBW and the electrical workers, there's thousands of dollars worth of stuff that you can't see in here, and thank you very much to all the IBW. Plumbers, they call me up and they say, Phil, we want you to play golf in a golf tournament. And I said, I haven't played much golf this year, I haven't had time. And they said, well, we don't care if you lose any balls or not. We want to take you to, there's a Lutheran charity golf tournament, and it's Budovich's, he puts it on every year, Budovich Heavy Equipment. You see around St. Louis, cranes and everything. You need a fire lane put in the back, and that place in the back looks like a Tarzan movie. And we go, and sure enough, I lost a bunch of balls. I didn't care. And next thing I know, we met with Mr. Budovich, and $5,000 fire line was put in and came in one day and helped it come in, brought the equipment in, got out. You know, no big deal. Thank you very much. And back in the trucks they got. The other one at the very end, when you get all the way down to the end, I'm sure I'm going to miss a trade or two because we had the carpet layers donating time and a lot of other trades, frost insulators insulated all the ductwork and all that. But at the very end, what was going to make this project or break it was the outside. And Vernon kept saying, I've got money in the budget, Phil, and there isn't near enough. And I said, how much money do you have in the budget, Vernon? And he says, Phil, we got $29,000 in the budget. We're running out of money, and I know we don't have enough. Don Willie back here from Laborers 110, he comes forward. He says, give me a week. He gets the asphalt 50% off. He gets the trucks donated. He gets Fabic tractor with a roller that donated and an asphalt shaker. And a guy's going to do the lines. Brings an army of guys here from out of work laborers, and says, "How's $12,000 for you, Vernon?" And we almost fell over. And he says, "Oh well, let's make it a little better than that. You got a camera." So we got a camera out of the car, and he says, "Harry, how about a check here from Laborers 110 to kind of bring that down a little bit for $5,000." So this parking lot, the striping, everything that you see, including asphalting the fire lane in the back, cost this food pantry $7,000. Can you believe that? And as it was spoken earlier, Larry Bass in the back here, Larry Bass Construction is one of the most honest men I've ever met in my life. I've worked with him on a couple of the projects before he came in. He's a big man, big gargantuan man, and he shakes hands with you, he wraps his whole hand around your hand. He said, and he came out, and when we had different buildings that we were going to look to purchase, he would look at them, walk through them, tell us what he thought the pluses and minuses were, and he'd shy us away, and he said, "This is the building you need to get in." And Daryl Johnston and my good friend Stanley Briscotta back there with Larry Bass Construction, they were the guys on the ground, and Daryl was getting, as Vernon said, free stuff from every place. And I tell you what, if you ever need anything built, I know they built Arnold Stove and Fireplace, they built the High Ridge Library, and they built this food pantry. Larry Bass Construction, thank you. So now, the conclusion. The board of directors, we had a meeting, and we said, I said, Vernon, how much money do you think labor, and I hope this is $250,000, not $1 million. If it is, we got to do the plaque over. But I said, Vernon, what's the number? And we're crunching numbers and things, and Vernon says, about $280,000, Phil, is what I'm figuring, between the free labor and the goods that they got in the discounted products. And I thought, oh my goodness, how in the world do you repay? How do you even say thank you to people that came forward and said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. Phil, I know you don't know a 2x4 from a from a screwdriver, but don't worry, get out of the way, we'll take care of it. How do you think a group of people and the business agents that made phone calls to their affiliates and things? Well, we tried to do it with the plaques that you're going to see on the wall, and that we thought was a pretty good tribute, but we also thought it wasn't enough. So we wanted to do something else. So if we could start that song, where's the song at here? As the song is playing, and when we get to the spot, we want to... All right, go ahead. Okay. Randy, could you open this garage door here for the people? We want everybody in metropolitan St. Louis, where we go every place, to know that organized labor built this food pantry. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you on behalf of the board of directors of the Arnold Food Pantry.
Alrighty, we want to thank you so much for coming. Back in the back, there are some baskets that you can bid on. We'd like for you to take a look at the truck and how dramatic was labor to us. We started out with a